I met Beckman, but I never met Lamb, her
Yeah.
I guess you did meet the second one.
second
Well,
one.
was he English too? Was he from England?
I think he must have been, because I think they were married over there.
In England? Oh, I thought she came over alone with the little boys.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
So
did.
she
We
really.
don't know where he's from.
Yeah.
We don't know much about him.
Well, if he
I
was
don't
from
know.
England, then
But he was the second husband. He wasn't the father of the.
But he was
boys.
awfully good. I remember
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Beckman. He was very nice.
Yeah.
I never knew Grandpa Lamb.
Uh-huh.
He died before I was born, I guess.
Do you know anything more about Grandpa Lamb,
Don't know much about him.
other than that he was a barrister?
Huh?
Yeah.
Other than he was a barrister.
Yes, I think he was.
And you didn't even know his name, really. Was he a Robert Sr., do you suppose? Or-
I don't know.
Although Robert was the youngest.
There were three boys, Charles and Fred and Robert. Robert was Uncle Charles was president of a big bank in Oregon, Tillamook,
Oh,
Oregon. And he had a very, very aristocratic life. I mean, he was a very had a fine reputation, but I haven't any of that written down. It's we don't see anything of him because somebody told me that, see, Papa was the youngest one, Uncle Charles was the oldest, and then Uncle Fred came in between, and he never married. But they say that Uncle Charles, well, for some reason was quite, now this is just hearsay, but anyway, they say he felt left out when the two younger boys came, or something, and he never was very close to. I never even met Uncle Charles but once.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, he was Papa's oldest brother.
it's not too bad how families do that. Don't keep close. Yeah, that's what's
well,
bad.
Betty said that Mrs.
Can I give her a piece of this?
Sure.
Sure.
Betty said that Mrs. Beckman, when she first married Mr. Lamb, that
He was a barrister.
right. Betty said that her parents didn't approve of the marriage. Is that so? Do you remember that?
No.
There was something you said one time, honey, that, and then after you died, they wanted her to live there with them, their home in Norwich. But she came to America instead.
I don't remember that.
Oh, okay. Cross that out.
No, I don't think there was anything like that.
Okay, that's fine.
And Betty said that, let's see here, she was from the Congregational Church.
Yeah. My father and mother were.
Both of your parents were Congregationalists?
Well, I think my mother was Episcopalian, but then when she married Father, they were strict Congregationalists.
I see.
And that was more of a new church here. No, the Congregational Church was the first Protestant church in Santa Barbara.
Was it?
Yeah. But I meant, you didn't hear so much about the Congregational as you did but it was the first Protestant church in Santa Barbara. The old mission was here, that was the Catholic.
Yeah.
And the Catholic Church developed, but
The Protestants.
the Protestant,
Congregational was.
Anything dangerous in there?
Anything else about her that you can remember?
Betty, you have to take this home, for your lunches.
I don't suppose she ever worked.
Who? Grandma Beckman? Oh, no. She had a maid.
Yeah,
Oh, Grandma Beckman didn't work.
Working was for lower class people. I mean, if you
Yeah.
were from upper class England,
Oh, my.
having occupation was bad, right?
I think I've got her picture in my room
Oh, good.
with her
We'll-
long train.
We'll have to
I'll
look
see.
at it.
Remind me when we go.
And then let's see, Mr. Eels, he's the one with the railroad
Yes, in Ohio.
in Ohio. And he moved to Santa Barbara and he was a horticulturist.
Yes, well, he was one of those in Ohio too, I think, because he was always interested in plants. And he planted a lot of the trees in
In the park here.
in the park.
Right.
He planted most of those trees, they say. That
Well, what was he like?
I never knew him.
Oh, that's the one.
That's right. We asked this question already. didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
I never knew him. But I guess he was a very intelligent man.
Did he have any hobbies other than his
I
planting?
wouldn't know.
You know, Nana,
wouldn't.
one time you said that,
Honey, is she? Oh, she's not.
Why don't you just unplug that? It's okay.
of course,
Did he-
it covers up the plug. It's
Would
better.
that hurt her? Oh,
It's probably better this way. Did he have any brothers and sisters?
you mean
Marcus Eels?
Marcus Fields? Well, you see, he died when
So you don't know.
I don't know what he is. I don't know if he had any brothers or sisters.
I suppose if we went back to Dayton, Ohio, we'd
That would be the place to find out.
find. Well, because
Listen, I went through Dayton, Ohio when we went to the fair.
Yeah.
And we stopped at Dayton, and I was very anxious, and I went to the, some
You're just too smart.
office or something. They just acted as though they never heard of him. That was so long ago, you see, and they evidently don't keep up the, you've got to have an interest. And now Santa Barbara, we're interested in the old people, but Dayton, this was the time of the New York Fair, the first one. That was a long time ago. And they didn't.
They've since then, I'm sure they've done a lot of research and
Maybe
things
they
come
have.
out in
Maybe.
the open, you know about. And you'd find that most cities, in fact, Pat went back. They took Jeannie back, and he went through. Well, he didn't have much time to spend there, but there was something he said. He knew he saw something.
Oh, boy.
The eels or the lamb, and oh my goodness, gorgeous! Ooh. Oh, doesn't that look like Valentine's?
Doesn't that
to you?
look like Valentine's? Oh, that's so nice looking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Betty said that after, thank you.
That's getting melted, though. You have to eat it.
That's the way I like it.
Do you?
No, I think I'll hang on if you don't mind.
Betty said that after Mr. Eels died, his wife had the bird sanctuary, or the bird refuge, I mean, or something like that.
Yeah. They owned that. I don't know that was after he died. I think
Well,
it belonged to my father,
it was your.
but he inherited it from his folks.
Yes, that's it. Her father inherited it. Can't get to the plug.
My father, I can remember when I was a little girl, my father going down and digging a trench from the bird refuge to the ocean. See, the highway didn't come through there. And so he just dug it to let the salt water out because it got rancid.
That door's gonna open and you're gonna go whoop. Wait, get the phone. Wait, get the phone.
It got rancid, and so
Okay, well, why don't you tell me about your parents then? You haven't told me anything about your own parents. That was Robert Bertram, right?
that's my father.
Your dad. And Mary Antoinette Eel, that was May.
That was
Eels.
but
Your mother.
it's her mother that owned the bird refuge. See, that came from the eels. But my father,
So tell me about your mom.
well, she was,
Gotcha.
you know,
My husband's in here.
she died. She died in childbirth.
I think she was
So she
heartbroken.
must have been, she was having a mid, I think she was in her 40s and having another child, and she died. Nowadays, they would have saved it probably. But
Probably so.
but mother
Well,
was a
you and your sister were their only children, is that right?
father got married again, and I think he was away and he got married. And somebody told me he had had a boy, but I've never met him. I wouldn't know how to go about it really, because father died, you see.
How old were you when your mother died?
We were about 12, I guess, 10, 11, 12.
Well, who raised you after that?
Well, Jesse, who had been with the family, came over from England. And my father, he was a devoted father. And there wasn't anything he wouldn't do for us or give us. He gave me a trip to Hawaii, and he did this. He was devoted to my twin sister and me. We were all he had, you see. And then when we got older and got in high school, he was manager of the Channel Commercial Company, and so he moved to Ventura. They opened an office there.
What is a Channel Commercial Company? What? Well, tell
Well,
us.
that was a big grocery company.
Oh.
And he owned, I inherited a lot of stock from, I've forgotten, I sold it, but I don't know what I bought or did.
Anyway, he moved to Ventura.
Oh, isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? Well, here. There.
Pretty.
Yes, he moved to Ventura after mother died. And he was manager of this company. And Marion and I went down. We rented a little house. He rented a darling little house. We kept house for him. We graduated from Ventura High School.
Oh.
And then I took postgraduate course there. Then where I met my husband.
You met him in Ventura.
Yes. His father was the editor of the newspaper there in Ventura, and his brother was the district attorney. So they had, the Sheridans was a prominent family down there. And Neil, when I married him, he was with the Automobile Club. And then he, Aetna Insurance, he always had the Aetna Insurance agency for that.
Well, anyway, so your dad lived in Ventura, and by that time you were out of high school, and
We graduated from the Ventura High School.
And
So
then-
we went,
how old were you when you married Neil?
I married Neil right out of high school.
Oh, so at that point, then you weren't living with your dad anymore. Then he moved away from Ventura?
Now, wait a minute.
Or did he?
No, then he married again.
He had a housekeeper. She came to
Yes, he had a housekeeper, didn't he?
a housekeeper, and then I do remember.
He
this
got
one.
married again.
But he died when I was about 6 months old, according to that thing there.
Huh?
He died when I was about 6 months old. And then Bobby, because Bobby Lamb, was born after, I don't know if it was 6 months or what, but anyway, my half-uncle, Bob Lamb, was born after his father died. Her father died of tumor.
Oh, really? What kind of tumor?
It was
He was in the war as a volunteer with the YMCA, or the Red Cross.
Red
Which
Cross.
one? Red Cross.
Yeah.
He volunteered, and he went over to Europe. and he was driving in a little